I am Technical Sergeant Justin Higginbotham, United States Air Force. I'm an Integrated Communication, Countermeasures, and Navigation Systems Specialist in Joint Base Charleston. As a QTP instructor, I am here to qualify students freshly out of tech school to get them from their 3 level to their 5 level. We also do things like the FCC MXOT course, which is for flying crew chiefs. It's maintenance special operations, qualifying individuals on other career fields so that they can fly with an aircraft and push a mission if something happens on the road. So this is a huge program that we have for both the FCC MXOT program as well as qualifying younger airmen. This is their first chance of getting truly C-17 specific training, hands-on training on the aircraft. So instead of reading about it in the books, reading system theory, now we actually have them with tools in their hand, working on trainers like this so that they can actually learn how it's going to look in real life on the flight line before we give them full access to an actual aircraft. So it's pretty important, especially with some of the more severe or the bigger moving components. As you can see, we have entire flight controls and things like that. It's a very dangerous job. A lot of moving parts. You can't always see your team, so you have to figure out what's going to happen when you do certain things, when you touch certain buttons. So getting to see all that in the trainer firsthand is instrumental to them being able to confidently go out and work on the flight line by themselves. An exact number would be tough, but I could say it's in the hundreds. We train a lot of airmen. The airmen courses are a bit longer. Each instructor, I think the shortest one we have, has their particular students up to 6 students per instructor, so about 6 weeks. So it's a pretty intimate, class between an instructor and the students. You have these guys for 6 weeks, and that's longer than most people's career field tech schools. So it's a lot of training and a lot of time with those individuals with a well-rounded and experienced instructor. The FCC MXOT course, that one, we pump out a lot of those as well, but that one's still a long course as well. I'd say if I had to guess an accurate number, just on those 2 courses alone, we could probably say 200 to 300. It's actually quite efficient, and a lot of instructors use it to their benefit, because what we don't want is for them to just regurgitate the information we give them. So especially in my class where it's a lot more integrated systems, I'll leave them with problems and have them work as a team, just like on the flight line. You're never going to be out there by yourself on the flight line, so learning how to work with other people to better your team, whether somebody knows a little bit more about this system or someone's a little bit more confident with this system, as well as just getting confident and helping each other, being peers, working with the tools and equipment that we have to use from day to day. So instead of being intimidated by me, because I obviously have a lot more familiarity with it, they feel a lot more comfortable being around their peers, and it works out really well. So Charleston is the lead C-17 base in the world. We actually received the first C-17 ever in the fleet, and we're the prime training facility for AMC, Air Mobility Command. All the training that gets updated when systems are updated on the flight line go through us, and a lot of the times that goes through the airmen that we have trained. So we kind of get to feel it out to see what's going to be a positive reaction with the students, what's going to be kind of negative or slow them down, and we get to really fine-tune it before the remainder of the bases get this kind of information.
So you guys pretty much set the SOPs?
Yeah, we write all the course material, the testing, and everything like that, because there are end-of-course tests for all of these. So we, as instructors here, we are the prime C-17 base MQTP. We set the standard and we write all of that course material. Now obviously we'll usually do conference calls, talk to other AMC bases, see some trends that they may be coming across. Believe it or not, there's a lot of things geographically that affect the aircraft. Whether like the heat and the cold. There are certain things that afflict our aircraft here in Charleston that maybe somewhere in like Elmendorf, they don't get it because it's such a cooler, less humid climate. So we get to kind of talk to the other instructors, but ultimately at the end of the day, we set the standard. So we start from the ground up. We're maintenance. We're the first and the last people to touch the aircraft. So a lot of people, especially leaders, like to show, hey, this is what you're doing for the mission and everything. And it's really easy for us, which is nice because it's really easy to see the impacts that our airmen will have on these aircraft. Without our airmen, these jets aren't going to get refueled. They're not going to be troubleshot when there's issues. They're not going to be fixed when there's issues. And if that happens, the pilots can't fly it. LRS can't supply it, APS can't load it. I mean, really, this is the mission. So without us, that's not going to happen.
My name is Jess Lovett, and I am a GS-12 with the United States Air Force, and my duty title is Maintenance Training Section Chief for the 437th Maintenance Group at Joint Base Charleston. I am the Director of Training, Chief of Training for the 437th Maintenance Group. We have 3 overarching sections underneath the training section to include the unit training managers, C-17 instructors and curriculum development, and also Air Force engineering and technical services. The training managers, they manage all training, everything that has to do with training for the entire maintenance group, to include 4 units and over 1,400 personnel. They're responsible for ancillary training, upgrade training, career development courses, inspecting training programs in their unit, and just being the overall advisor to their commanders on all things related to training. They manage over 50,000 ancillary training events and over 8,000 Air Force distributed learning training events each and every year. They also manage on an average 300 upgrade trainees over the course of the year as well. My C-17 instructors, they are responsible to teach over 20 formal courses, and those courses include AMC mandated courses as well as local courses and ancillary training including self-aid and buddy care and CPR. Our Air Force engineering and technical services representatives provide advanced expertise on the tough aircraft issues out on the flight line, and they also help make the technical orders much better for the entire C-17 fleet. First of all, we're very agile. We don't have any red tape when it comes to developing curriculum. If there's a maintenance issue or a trend on the flight line, we can immediately build a course or adjust an existing course on the fly and implement that immediately. So we're extremely agile. Our instructors are also hand-selected. There are no non-volunteer C-17 maintenance instructors in the maintenance training section. Every one of them gets a records review, and if their records meet the requirements, then they conduct an interview with myself and Master Sergeant Haney, the development and instructor section chief, and then only then, if they do well in the interview and they show that they have what it takes to be an instructor, only then are they hired. We also teach to the 3C level, so we go beyond the classroom. Our bread and butter here is teaching to the no-go level and making sure that the technicians who graduate from our courses can go out and actually do the job in the operational environment. Our instructors sign off training records at the end of the class, so students get more than just a certificate and a handshake. Their training records are signed off on the tasks that they learn in class, and they're ready to rock and roll when they get out to the flight line. Our instructors sign off over 6,000 tasks every year, and that takes a huge OJT burden off of our units. So the other great thing about what our instructors do that makes us different is we actually sign off training records. So Most classes that Air Force people graduate from, they get a certificate and a handshake. When they leave our courses, they get signed off in their training records. So their training requirements are actually signed off at the end of our classes. Our instructors sign off over 6,000 training requirements a year, and that takes away a significant on-the-job training burden from our host units. It's one less thing they have to do in the operational environment. And our instructors teach beyond the curriculum. Most classes, they teach the objectives and that's it. We have 14 instructors here who have all worked the flight line. They understand aircraft maintenance and they understand what it takes to be successful out there. So our students learn more than just about maintenance. They learn about education, they learn about volunteerism, they learn about retirement savings and general savings, and they get the chance to sit down with NCOs and get real honest feedback about what it takes to be a successful aircraft mechanic. The teaching methods that we deploy here in the maintenance training section are pretty simple. We do use some classroom technologies. We do use some interactive courseware, but for the most part, we are hands-on. We thrive on performance-based training here, so the students spend most of their time in an environment where they can do hands-on training. They watch the instructor do a task on the aircraft, and then they practice it, and then once they're confident, then they're evaluated by the instructor without any instructor assists, and only then are they qualified on that particular training requirement. So we are very hands-on.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, so I think the biggest impact that we have on the overall Air Force mission is that planes can't fly without aircraft mechanics. Aircraft mechanics can't fix planes without training, and a whole lot of it. Every aircraft that our graduates touch serves a mission, whether it's a training mission, a wartime mission, a humanitarian mission, a medevac mission, whatever mission is imaginable, our graduates play a role in making sure those missions get accomplished. So I would say that we are the foundation of the mission. As far as training equipment goes, of course we have traditional classrooms. We do use interactive multimedia and some computer-based training, and of course we use some traditional classroom methods, but we also have a secret weapon, which is our maintenance training devices. We have a suite of 11 devices. They're valued at over $149 million. And these devices are basically aircraft systems broken down. They're in a nice controlled environment where students can practice, they can break them, and it's okay, and it takes down off the wear and tear on the actual aircraft. And let me say this too, we do also use the aircraft, the actual aircraft. We try to minimize that as much as possible, but what the maintenance training devices can't do, we do go out on the actual aircraft as well.